What is going on, my friends? 2K26 is right around the corner. Get the game early access, and you have access to that game a week from this upcoming Friday. So you already know I'll be getting that. You already know that you should be getting it if you're going to be grinding 2K like me. So very excited to finally get back on the grind. I want to show you guys some of the builds I'm thinking about making. Obviously, I'm not like a park player, so I will be making stuff for Pro-Am off the rip. Stuff for, rec off the rip, I think will be a lot of fun. I'm going to make one build to start. I'm definitely going to be streaming a lot to start the year. So if you're not subbed up already, sub up so you get notified when I do go live. I'm going to be going live often is my goal. So I don't understand everything with the builder. I know that the builder's not a lot different with the builder itself, but there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot more badge plus ones that you can get. As far as I know, you can get an extra cap breaker depending on what you want to specialize in. So for instance, if you want to specialize in shooting, eventually if you make enough 3-point shots, you will get a cap breaker to put on some of your shooting attributes. You might even get an extra badge plus 1 or badge plus 2 after you grind a little bit. I doubt that they just give you the badge plus 1 and badge plus 2 off the rip after you pick your specialization category, but nonetheless, some objectives to do. If I'm gonna have to do any objectives to grind something, getting an extra badge plus 1 and a badge plus 2 sounds pretty good to me. So I'm gonna do my best to talk about this game even though we don't have our hands on it. I'm gonna do my best to show you guys builds that I think make sense and just kind of break down my thoughts behind why I did what I did. For the most part, big builds are back, so big guard builds, I guess I should say. So I will be making a 6-6 guard is my hope, but if not, I got a couple 6-4s here, a 6-8 and 2 6-6s. So like I said, I will be playing rec and pro-am with a team. So I will be point guard. I will be sitting in the corner on defense. So preface all of this with that it's important to know why you're seeing some of these builds that may not have a lot of defense, because I'm not going to be playing defense. I'm going to be playing with a lock, a shooting guard, a power forward that has a lot of defense. So let's get into the first one, where I feel like it's going to be very, very similar to the build I started with this year. As far as I know, your speed is going to have to be somewhere around what your speed with ball is. I don't know what kind of handles, this is the big part of why people think big guards are coming back. The animation threshold might change, and the height requirement might change. So there's a chance that let me try to think of one. Darius Garland, right? The best dribble style in the game for comp guards this year, for small comp guards. All you needed was, I think, like an 85 ball handle or an 86. I can get a 92 with this build. So I'm 6'6", but if they up that threshold by an inch or two, am I going to be able to get Darius Garland? That's kind of what I'm building these taller guard builds off of. If I can get Darius Garland on this build, this feels like an awesome build to start the year with. But listen, let's break it down. Like I said, I'm in Pro-Am, so I'm not going to be playing defense. I'm in rec, so I'm not going to be playing defense. That's the lock's job. That's the shooting guard's job. But a 74 perimeter, I can kind of get away with that. You don't need high agility to get shifty shooter this year. So there's a chance that, maybe gold shifty's a little cheaper. I could be wrong, but, we'll see. But yeah, I want to shoot. One thing I know for certain is that they can't change shooting a whole lot. I always want to make a sniper build, and that's what I'm doing here. So if I could do a badge specialization or a whatever, I would do shooting and put that extra badge or that extra cap breaker on my midi. That way, I have a 95 midi where I can get Deadeye. I don't think I'd be able to get shifty because I think it is still a 96 in 2K26. But, off the rip, I feel pretty good about this build. Extra cap breaker, get Deadeye on Hall of Fame. That feels pretty good. So for a while there, when I do my badge specialization stuff, my shooting stuff, I'm going to have probably... I'll probably do a badge plus 1 to Deadeye. That way I can get that to Legend, which sounds really, really good to me. At least for my specialization, right? So my specialization would be shooting for this one. So my badge plus 2, that might be shifty. So I get that to Legend. Set shot specialist on Hall of Fame feels, pretty high enough. So that's fine with me. And then maybe, with that extra max +1, max +2, I can put that on limitless, and now, I have Hall of Fame limitless. If I put a badge +1 on it, I can have gold. So that feels pretty good there. Let's say I just do my badge specialization, based off of what I know this year. I know that Shifty, Gold, and Hall of Fame didn't feel too different. So maybe I keep that gold and just put one extra one here. So I'll have this on Legend after I earn my Cap Breaker. And then if I go my, my extra one, I can do Limitless. And now it's my badge +2 goes to Hall of Fame. So now I still have, badge +1s, badge +2s to anything else, right? That's just my specialization. So I'm thinking for that, I could do handles for days and have Legend handles for days if I do the badge +2. I could badge +2 Lightning Launch. Now I have Legend Lightning Launch. That seems like a very good move. And then badge +1, same thing. I could do handles for days here. I could do Lightning Launch to get that to Hoff. But, just a couple different options there. I hope I'm not sounding too confusing there. But, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Badge specialization stuff, I would badge, stuff like this. The only problem is that if each season, like, does it reset if you do your badge specialization? So if I choose shooting for season 1, does that stick for next season? And then I just grind, season 2 shooting Cap Breaker, or do I get to choose something else? Because if that's the case, I don't know if I want to do shooting, because Lord knows once I get my 5 Cap Breakers down the road from rep, then, I'm going to put my Cap Breakers on shooting, obviously. So kind of just depends. I mean, I really don't know. I don't know. It's hard to make a build when you don't really know anything, but I'm just going to show you guys what I'm thinking about. Hopefully I'm not, I'm not like confusing anyone. Let's go to a little more fun build. 6-8 here. 6-8s could be dangerous, especially if you can get Darius Garland on a 6-8. Like I said, that's what I'm making these builds around, is thinking like, hey, Darius Garland is going to be able to be on these bigger builds, because that's the one that really makes sense. That's the glitchy one that if you change the threshold enough, Darius Garland is the glitchiest dribble move in the game. That makes sense for bigger guards. Obviously, Steve Francis is a 95 ball handle, so 6'6", you can't even get a 95 ball handle, but you can get an 85 very easily. So 6'8" could be broken this year if that's the case, but again, same thing. I'm going to specialize in shooting, use that extra Cap Breaker on Deadeye to start. And then once I get my Cap Breakers to start rolling in, I really don't know what I will do with this build, to be honest with you. This is one of those builds where I'm not really planning that far ahead, but I thought, hey, 6'8", maybe I specialize in finishing and I can get a Cap Breaker to go 94 dunk, and now I can badge +2 posterizer. Now I have a Legend posterizer. Maybe I just do a little extra something on float game or something like that here. But even if I don't specialize in this, let's say I specialize in shooting, so I get that extra Cap Breaker for Deadeye, Hall of Fame there, and now badge +2 limitless, and I have gold limitless. And then I would probably do Shifty, or I'd probably do Shifty for a badge +2 again. You could badge +2 Lightning Launch here, so now you have Hall of Fame Lightning Launch on a 6'8". Badge +1 maybe handles for days or unpluckable or something like that. So with this kind of build, I'm not really too sure what all I would do. Maybe I do, Interceptor, and now I got Gold Interceptor, Hoff Interceptor. There's a lot of things that I could do with this build. This is kind of the build where I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just thought, hey, specialize in shooting. You're going to have a lot of shooting. You're going to have, Hall of Fame here. Potentially, I mean, you'll probably have 2 Legend shooting badges between these two, maybe a gold one here. Seems pretty broken. And then badge +2 this. I hope this isn't confusing, because I'm really not going to go over this again. I'm not going to lie to you. I think the point is that, badge +1 some things, badge +2 some things. Depending on what you specialize, you got an extra badge +1, badge +2 for that category. So you could badge +2 this, badge +1 that, Hall of Fame or Legend. Same thing with anything here. So I really like that. In a world where maybe we get Patty Mills a little earlier, the 6'4s could play. The 5-out 6'4 I'm thinking about here. Obviously, like I've said before, always going to specialize in shooting, because, shooting I know for a fact I'm going to be able to do at a high level early on. No matter what they do to shooting, I always want to shoot at a very, very high level. So I can get a 95.3 here. Deadeye would be Hoff, and Set Shot would be Hoff. The badge +2, I mean, I could get this to legend. I could get this to I can get any of these to legend if I want. Badge +1, everything here. You know what I'm saying? I will say that with the 86 speed with ball for this one, I would badge +2 this one for certain. I'm going to be showing the graphic of the badge +1 to BS, where it says the shooting one, that can change depending on what you pick. So just keep that in mind. So for this one, this could just straight up be a badge +2 for me. It would be legend. Now, how legend, lightning launch with an 86 speed with ball is, we have no idea. But if I can get Steve Francis off the rip, this would be a very good build to start, especially if I get Steve Francis and Patty Mills. This would be disgusting. So I really like this one a lot. You could probably even lower your speed quite a bit here and get an extra something there. I mean, because I know that from what I'm hearing is that your speed has to be higher than your speed with ball is what I'm hearing. So maybe this is possible. I would probably lower that and get a little bit more something there, potentially. I don't know. Maybe we just roll with that for now. But nonetheless, still badge or extra cap breaker. Now you got Shifty Hall of Fame out right away. So I like the way that build looks. I'm gonna show you this one, the last one. Man, I hope you guys still stay to the end because the last one's cool. This is pretty much the same thing, but just more passing. Like I said, pro and point guard. So I want to be able to just get buckets. Maybe layups are better. I know that you can customize that a little better this year, so that would be cool. My free throw's always high because I'm a pro and point guard. This is the problem with this build, is that if I specialize in shooting, is that a waste? Potentially. Because at some point, I'm going to get cap breakers. I'm going to have a 99.3. And now all of these badges here, except for mini marksman, obviously, these are all going to be legend already because I have a 99.3. So now it's like, if I can't change my specialization badge or specialization category every season, this might be cooked. So this is the one where I wasn't really too sure about. But the dream here, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be this one. This feels like I really want to make this build to start the year. This build looks crazy. Obviously, if I don't have Darius Garland to start the year, this build would suck. But assuming I do get that, I'm going to have Posterizer on Hall of Fame. So I'm going to be 5 outin'. Darius Garland, so now I can burst into that. Once I start getting my cap breakers, I'm going to have a 98 midi. If I'm doing like the specialization stuff, I will probably put an extra cap breaker here potentially. So now I would have Hall of Fame Limitless, because at 89 you get silver +2. Now you got, you know what I'm saying? Now you got Hall of Fame Limitless. You got Hall of Fame Posterizer. I'd probably let's do 90 there. I like that more. Yeah, I like that more. Because now when I get my cap breakers down the road, I would have to get an 80 vertical, but you guys get the idea of what I'm trying to do. Let me see that. Go there. Lower this a bit. Type. Boom. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So now down the road, once I do get cap breakers, I can get this to gold. And you know what I'm saying? Now I got legend Posterizer. I could potentially at some point get legend shooting on a 6.6. That's pretty crazy. I'm not really too sure if I made a lot of sense this video. Hopefully I did. There's just a lot to break down. I don't want to put up graphs and all that stuff. Just know that graphic that was popping up the entirety of this video. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're going for, right? Your specialization badge +1, badge +2, and then you got 2 separate options. Obviously, for the tier 2 stuff, like, that stuff is just gonna be whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Most of these I'm gonna have dimer for my badge +2, badge +1. Like, I don't know. Slippery. like that's where it might get a little sticky at 6'6" and 6'7" and 6'4". Like the badge plus twos, I really have no idea what I would do there. Um, Definitely dimer, maybe float game. That could be broken, especially if you know what I'm saying. The layups are not too hard to get. Hopefully, I made some sort of sense in this video. If not, let me know in the comments below. Maybe I remake it, maybe I don't. But until next time, you know, hopefully it's 2K26 time. Sub up, leave a like, comment what I got wrong, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, peace.